Ereshkigal was an ancient goddess originating from Mesopotamian mythology, whose role was to rule over the home of the dead. Unlike other cultures who believed only those who sinned during life were damned to an eternity of torture, the Mesopotamians believed the underworld was just a place where everyone went when they died, regardless of social standing, age, or really anything else. While they believed everyone went here, it wasn't necessarily a cheery, wonderful place for everyone to live. It was cold, dark, and dreary, almost like a cave, and of course, reigning over it all was the goddess Ereshkigal and her husband Nergal, the god of death. Their roles mainly centered around rituals around the time of someone's death. For example, Mesopotamians believed that their departed loved ones would only ever have whatever food and drink was offered to them by their living loved ones, and that they would only be able to pass into the underworld if they had a quick and timely burial after their death. Ereshkigal's goal was to mediate their crossing over into the underworld and allow them to access whatever offerings their living relatives gave them. Ereshkigal is the older sister of another goddess, Ishtar, the goddess of love and fertility. The two sisters act sort of as opposites of each other in the sense that one represents death and the other life and rebirth. Without one, the other would have no meaning, and they are therefore both important pieces in the cycle of life. While they both balance each other out, myths suggest that the sisters didn't totally get along all the time. One myth, for example, describes Ishtar arriving at the gates of Kur, or the underworld, for the funeral of Ereshkigal's first husband. Ishtar demanded to be let in, but the gatekeeper was kind of worried that she had come to conquer the underworld for herself. She spoke with so much power and authority, the gatekeeper thought this had to be the case. Well, Ereshkigal tells the gatekeeper to let her in, but to strip off a piece of her clothing at each of the 7 gates to her home, which he does. Humiliated and outraged, when Ishtar finally gets to Ereshkigal's home, she sits on her throne herself, probably out of spite. This was a fatal mistake though, because disrespecting Ereshkigal in her home and in her kingdom was the last thing anyone should ever do, because Ereshkigal had her sister executed. Ishtar was able to be resurrected, but only if somebody close to her swapped places with her and would be damned to stay in the underworld for the rest of eternity. Otherwise, she would never be able to return to the realm of the living. Her partner, Dumuzi, the shepherd god, offered his life in place of hers, and he was dragged into the underworld by demons, while Ishtar went free. Quite the ruthless family reunion, if you ask me. Although Ereshkigal's actions may seem ruthless, it serves to remind us of the totality of death and the fate that awaits each of us. None of the Mesopotamian gods were exempt from death. Even Ishtar wasn't able to escape the underworld independently. She had to bargain with the life of another, and she lost her powers for the time that she was in the underworld. While we hear about Ereshkigal through myths and legends, there is very little visual representation of her due to the belief in Mesopotamia that the wrath of the gods would be invoked from pictures of them. This is why we really only see her come up through text or retellings of myths from the time. That is all I have for you on the Mesopotamian myth of Ereshkigal, the goddess of the underworld. I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you did. Let me know what else I should talk about next, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye!